actually April 3rd. And April 3rd was a day when our great engineers here, Joe Burke and Brian Kenny, came to me and said, Dr. Greco, we have a problem. Our oxygen is freezing up. And as you know, with COVID, all these patients requiring tremendous amounts of oxygen, either on a ventilator or other methods, and we were using so much oxygen. But as the oxygen flowed through the system, and we had plenty of oxygen, I don't want to make that get anybody think otherwise, but as the oxygen was going from the liquid form that's in those big tanks to the gas form where patients can use, the reaction causes heat to come in from the atmosphere. It's called an endothermic reaction, and that was starting to freeze up the vaporizers, the equipment that makes it go from liquid to gas. And I'm saying we, but it was really a collective we, really had to be creative in how we're going to solve this problem, because the patients weren't going away, the need for oxygen wasn't going away, and the freezing issue wasn't going away. So they jerry-rigged some hoses to spray on the vaporizers. That was truly amazing, that were running 24 hours a day. And then they brought in this big, right outside my window, another spare tank that they hooked up to the wall oxygen. And from that day on, we never had another problem. Truly amazing work and commitment from all the staff. The other day that will be forever, ever etched in my mind is April 9th, just a week after the oxygen issue. And April 9th, we didn't know it then because we thought we were still on the upward peak of the COVID, but we were running out of space to put patients. We had ICUs in every imaginable place in this hospital. Our post-anesthesia care units, our library that used to be a conference room was converted to an ICU. We had 2 tents on the East Campus that was set up to take care of patients. Our emergency room was taking care of many ICU patients. So we had to make rounds with the nursing staff. Val Terzano, I see who's on, her senior director, Jean Marie Moorhead, and we looked at every space in this hospital. And we identified space of what we would do next. And we made arrangements and we were all set. Luckily, that never came. April 9th was the peak for us. And ever since then, we've been going down. We've been going down on a fairly steady basis. And together, everybody on this call, everybody in this hospital, everybody in this organization, tackled this problem, and we beat it. So when Laura Curran says, I hope to never see it again, I echo that more than you can ever imagine, but we must be prepared. We will be prepared, and should this ever happen again, we will fly through with the colors because of the people in this organization and the commitment they have. With that, I'm going to stop and hand it off, but thank you, everybody, and thank you. And enjoy the Memorial Day weekend, and please remember those who have fallen on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Greco. Looking forward, and really good news for everybody at the hospital. I wanted to know that what inspired me to do this. I walked through the halls of the hospital, and I read a beautiful note from a young second grader. It said the following: Dear healthcare workers, you do not know how much your worth means to me. I want to work in a hospital just like you when I grow up. You are our heroes and always will be. When I saw that note, said we will have to express our greater appreciation for the wider community. Moving forward now, we'd like to bring on our supervisor from North Hempstead, Supervisor Jody Busworth. Please join us. Jody Busworth? Judy Busworth?
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, and thank you, Rabbi Perl, for giving us all this opportunity to pay tribute to those who are working at Winthrop Hospital and Special thank you to Dr. Greco, of course, for the amazing job that he's doing, as well as every single person who's part of the staff at Winthrop. These are such unprecedented times, and we're facing challenges that are really unimaginable on every level of government, on every level of what our residents are going through, what our emergency responders are going through. And we know the amazing job that those at Winthrop are doing, the great spirit that they're showing, the sacrifices that they're making. You're going out of your way day in and day out to make sure that we have treatment, that we're safe. Thank you seems like such an inadequate way of acknowledging all that you're doing. And we just know that we owe you such an incredible debt of gratitude for the exceptional work that you've been doing to save lives. And the challenges that you're facing, we appreciate, we salute you, we honor you, and we thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor. Thank you always for being there for us, and thank you for your wonderful tribute to all the hospital workers at NYU Winthrop. Thank you. Wishing you the best and continued many good years in your leadership. Thank you. And as we would say in the French, Shabbat Shalom. Moving forward now, we'd like to call upon Dr. Marc Adler. He is the Chief Medical Officer at the hospital, and he will address the subject on medical staff support. Please welcome Dr. Adler.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Greco and Judy, and certainly, of course, Rabbi Perl for inviting us, and all of you who are out there today. And we thank you for all your efforts, as always, Rabbi, in connecting Winthrop to the community, but especially during this very trying time. And thank you certainly to all the Winthrop staff and the supporting communities out there around the hospital. It's hard to believe that it's just a little over 2 months ago that Winthrop diagnosed the first patient with COVID on Long Island. But you should know that Winthrop has been preparing for this even months before this first patient was diagnosed in the United States. We've been creating strategies to keep the community safe as possible, and caring for patients with COVID has created, as Dr. Greco mentioned, real challenges that our staff has handled as we always do, with professionalism and sensitivity, even under the stress of these times, and even under unique circumstances like the media that were here on the first day as we diagnosed the first patient having this in the area, even in the face of our own personal and family concerns for this. But even with months of preparation, this virus has really thrown us many curveballs along the way. It's only due to the efforts of all the Winthrop staff that's kept us always one step ahead, providing the safest haven possible for our patients and our own staff. If you look up the definition of a hero is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. If we add facing an unknown and unpredictable enemy, then everyone here at Winthrop is a superhero. Every staff member of NYU Winthrop has pitched in, some working different shifts than they're usually accustomed to, some taking on different roles than ever existed before this crisis, all with a sense of community, dedication, and humanity that has often made me take a pause in the hallways just to take it all in, as I see people marching through their days and nights here in the hospital. I also want to recognize those in the community who have contributed their emotional and financial support. Those hot meals allowed our staff to worry about one less item in their very busy days. And the outpouring of donations and community support has not been overlooked by every staff member. Knowing you care helps us care. The help of many others also can't be overlooked, including the over 300 nurses from all across the country who came to pitch in. When talking with some of them, they say they just had to come and help the hardest hit area in the country. And they comment on the close-knit family feeling and overwhelming dedication exhibited by our Winthrop staff. While the visitor restrictions has helped us keep our staff and the community safer, it's also separated families and patients from each other. It's been an inspiration to see how our staff have taken on the role of surrogate, on-site, as on-site family for our patients, calling their family frequently and keeping them updated, even just holding the hands of the patients and staying with them in their most critical times, and going through tremendous efforts to connect patients with their family by iPad and Skype. So the fight, as Dr. Greco, is not over, but we're clearly gaining ground. We're down over 70%, nearly 75% in the hospital from our peak. Even in the past week, the numbers continue to decline over 10%, a sign that we're staying ahead of this. We've created strategies to safely care for people who have all the other health issues that no one should be putting off at this time, both in the hospital and our outpatient offices and surgery centers. There are going to be some rough days ahead as this takes some twists and turns. But if we look at how far we've come, it's obvious we'll continue to forge through this. Every patient, every staff member is valuable in this fight, helps us gain the knowledge and strength that we need. We recognize every patient as a warrior in this unprecedented battle, and we celebrate every discharge as a victory. As was pointed out earlier, you all may remember the 750th discharge. It was just a few weeks ago. It seems like so much longer. And we've now discharged over 1,000 patients. So in conclusion, thank you to all the Winthrop staff and the Winthrop community supporters. You're all superheroes, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Adler. Thank you so much for everything you're doing and your wonderful words today. We'd like to now switch to one of our community leaders, the mayor of Mineola. The mayor is the Village Hall is actually a wonderful neighbor of our Chabad House Shul right here on Willis Avenue. Let's welcome the mayor of Mineola, the Honorable Scott Strauss, please.
Good afternoon, Rabbi. I want to thank you, Rabbi Perl, for providing us another opportunity to show our healthcare workers our appreciation and support. Many of our healthcare teams are hurting inside and out, and I'm sure you and your families, who have also sacrificed so much, all could use this boost to help you realize and understand you are not alone. Although many clinicians know what the job entails when you take it, you're seeing horrible things in an unprecedented volume. You've taken the place of family members who are prevented from visiting. You spend time with patients, encouraging them to keep fighting when you could have taken a much needed break, gotten something to eat, or even close your eyes for a precious few minutes during brutal and seemingly endless shifts. You held the hands of dying patients because their families couldn't, so they wouldn't be alone as they took their last breath. And you have shed way too many tears, and many times have felt as if you were trying to hold back the sea with only your bare hands, but you haven't given up. You keep coming to work, you keep fighting, keep trying to save as many lives as you can, even at the risk of your own and that of your families. It's wonderful that our healthcare workers, including all the support staff, such as cleaners, engineers, radiology techs, dietary staff, security officers, etc., across the nation are getting the recognition and admiration, not only that they deserve, yet never sought, but have so amazingly earned. As someone who works in healthcare myself, I fully understand what all of you are going through. On behalf of the entire village of Mineola, I want to thank you for everything you've done, everything that you continue to do, and the sacrifices you and your families are making. We stand with you now and always will. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Appreciate it, your beautiful words. I want you to know that even though many people think about the year 2020 as a lost year, yes, we lost a lot of loved ones, a lot of other things. People lost their jobs. There's one thing we have all gained, and that is gratitude. Gratitude for the simplicity of being able to breathe, to see our friends alive and well, and to be able to come together in so many different ways. So may God continue to bless us all. We'd like to now go back to the hospital, to Al Glover, who is the Senior Vice President of Hospital Operations, who will address the issue of a play on thank you. Welcome, Al Glover. Unmute yourself, Al. Al Glover, are you there?
I'm here.
Ah,
Can you hear?
yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good.
You have the floor. Thank you.
Well, again, I started out by saying thank you, Rabbi Perl. And, what I'd like to do is really echo, Dr. Greco and Dr. Adler and really everyone who's been speaking, about and just describe or try to describe the thanks and the gratitude that we all feel for the staff here at Winthrop, the community and the support that the community has provided, and just everyone that's been involved in this process. There really aren't words that describe that level of gratitude or thanks. Winthrop we've always felt that Winthrop is a very special place. And, this time, this past couple of months, just shows it more than ever. There's just a level of caring and compassion that, you don't normally see. And, it really sets us apart, and it sets the care apart that we provide to, patients and families here. I think the thing that really struck me the most during this period of time is I'll say the care and compassion that the team here actually showed for one another. I mean, certainly it was there for our patients and it was there for the families. But walking through the hospital, walking down the hallways, hearing the everyone that works here talking to one another, asking how they were, asking about their families, ensuring that one another was safe and protecting themselves. When you saw that, and it was constant, it was every day, everywhere you went. That's what struck me. It struck me how we really function and really care for one another as a family, and and that translates itself into the care that we provide to the patients. Both during this terrible period, but also before and going forward. I mean, that's what Winthrop's about. That's what makes us who we are, and we'll never lose that. This is a very, very special place, and we're very proud of it. So those are my words of thanks, and really, as I said, I just wanted to echo what everyone else has been saying. It's we're very fortunate here. We're very blessed here at Winthrop.
Thank you so much, Al. Continued success in your work. I want you to know how, from a very noisy place over the weeks when I had a chance to come to the hospital for some serious moments, there was a very interesting silence in the hospital. And I felt the seriousness, how everybody was taking this. And as you said, it was caring for each other, yet there was a very serious focus on helping the patients. Thank you, Al, for your wonderful presentation. We'd like now to go to, I hope it's Senator Ann Chaplain, who's the New York State Senator for the 7th District. Senator, are you there with us? Please unmute yourself if you're there. Senator Ann Chaplain? Anna Chaplain? Okay, well, if she's on, we'll go back to her. Continuing our wonderful presentations, we'd like to welcome now to the podium is Stacy Pfeffer, who is the Regional Vice President for HR, Human Resources, Health Systems for both Long Island and Queens. Let's welcome Stacy Pfeffer, please. Unmute yourself, Stacy. Okay. Stacy, are you there? Okay. I'm sure eventually get back to us. Let's welcome now Val Terzano. Terzano, who's the Vice President of Nursing and Patient Care, and to address the issue of the courage, the compassion, the resilience that was felt at the hospital. Let's welcome Val Terzano. Val, unmute yourself. Okay. Meanwhile, I want to let you know that today's event didn't happen by chance, without all the effort. I wanted to do a special shout out to when I first called Dr. Greco. He gave me my blessings and turned me over to Marianne Sabatino, who is the Senior Director of Regulatory and Administration. So I want to say thank you to you, Marianne, and to Adam Frank. And now let's welcome now Val, right? Val Terzano. Thank you.
Yes, am I unmuted? Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Sure.
Great, thank you, Rabbi. Hi, everybody. So this year, 2020, is probably the most memorable, not probably, is the most memorable in my 45 years as a nurse. It's the 200th anniversary of the birth of Florence Nightingale, who's the founder of modern nursing and best known for her promotion of infection prevention, evidence-based practice, and innovation. So even from 200 years ago, her insight and vision provided us with very sound guidance for what we do each and every day, especially now. Every morning in my kitchen, I go to a box containing 365 quotes, and I pick out one to serve as my inspiration for the day. So I'd like to share one that I believe is most apropos for today's celebration. Think of life as a school for your soul. You're here to learn in perfect well-being. Here's a suggestion for life's pop quizzes. Instead of asking why something happened, ask instead, what can I learn? And for extra credit, ask, how may I serve? And that's what today is all about. Acknowledging each and every one of you who did not hesitate for a minute to offer your service, even as the very first COVID patient arrived on our doorstep. So today I have the honor and privilege of speaking to you about courage, compassion, and resilience of so many of our staff in the midst of this pandemic. This is in humble recognition of you, our phenomenal staff, all of whom have important roles that were and continue to be essential to address the needs of so many human beings in this unprecedented time. None of us could have done this alone. It takes great teamwork, courage, compassion, and resilience to do our work. These amazing people include our nurses, our doctors, our nurse practitioners and physician's assistants, respiratory therapists, and infection prevention and infectious disease practitioners, all the support services departments, transport, hospitality, and dietary, all the diagnostic department personnel, our engineering teams, which were mentioned earlier, to coordinate so many fans and negative pressure rooms to accommodate our patients, our labor pool throughout the organization that served to help on the patient care units, managers and administrative leaders, case management, social work, and home care services, their extraordinary teamwork to coordinate with operations and supply chains and vendors and emergency ambulance services to get our patients back home with telehealth monitoring and oxygen and supportive counseling. We have interdisciplinary teams that help to prone and provide early mobilization of our teams, and that's another phenomenal group that was comprised of representatives from surgery, medicine, radiology, physical therapy, nursing, perioperative services, faculty group practices, and et cetera, to carefully and skillfully position our patients to help them with breathing, which was one of the major problems of our patients with the COVID virus. We have safety monitors throughout the house to ensure that our staff was safe, to ensure that each of you were safe in putting on our PPE, that they would put on and taken off appropriately and safely. Travelers who began, Dr. Adler mentioned, our travelers came from all different states in the country, including Alaska and Hawaii, providing additional resources for our staff who badly needed assistance. And those who are carrying out and supporting our medication research trials and convalescent plasma research, so important as well to help us to manage this crisis. And many others who I apologize I didn't mention, but were there to continue to support everyone in dealing with the virus. These combined efforts of all is what enabled us as an organization to be successful. If I may, I just want to share a few letters that I think embody the gravity as well as the nature of the thanks that and the impact that our patients have realized through our caregivers. This one is a new graduate nurse from a residency program working on a unit that was COVID positive. She said that because of the virus, I knew I had to adapt quickly. I saw firsthand that the effects of this virus were unpredictable and realized recovery was not guaranteed for all. It was not enough sometimes, despite all the medications. It broke my heart to see that the patients passed without their loved ones at their side. That's when she began to use FaceTime. She says, I used it with my patients' family members. It became so routine every morning that after I got a report from a nurse going off shift, I set up planned block time dedicated to use FaceTime. And on the busiest of days, she used to do it during her lunch break because it meant so much for her patients' families. She began doing this with one of her patients daily, if not twice a daily, for 2 weeks. She writes, last Wednesday, I was able to set up a four-way video chat so that all the children of my patients could say hello to their beloved mother. Moments later, when the physician and I were at the bedside, my patient passed peacefully. The last thing she heard were the voices of her children. The patient's daughter was so grateful that she asked that in lieu of flowers for her mother's funeral, that her friends and family donate money so that she could purchase iPads to donate to NYU Winthrop, so that others could be able to contact and connect with their loved ones as well. And they donated 19 iPads and cases and stands, which was phenomenal. Another patient's family member wrote, when Dave was on a ventilator in the ICU and his children called, his nurses put the phone next to his ear for as long as they wanted. The daughter shared, the nurses did all the things we would not do, we could not do. Above and beyond doesn't even begin to describe it. Just bear with me, I have another one from an NP who was not at the bedside but worked in the medical practices. She wrote a note to the surgical ICU staff saying that she was told to go back to the bedside and she was very nervous. Even though she had a background in the emergency department, she thought I was never an ICU nurse. She thought as an ER nurse, she was thinking how busy could an ICU nurse be with just 2 patients and an established diagnosis. She realized through those weeks she couldn't be more wrong. The real answer was that it was really busy and she had to acclimate herself in a new environment while taking care of the sickest of sick patients. She tells the ICU staff she couldn't have done it without all of you. To the nurse that taught me how to work a feeding pump, to the respiratory therapist that gowned up to come into the room to look at my vent when I was unable to troubleshoot any further, to the clerical staff that ran up and down to pharmacy to constantly get my drips because my bags were running dry, to the nursing assistant who taught me after 9 years what a Methylex dressing was, to the perfusionist who took 5 minutes to explain ECMO to me, to the awesome PAs and residents who have been forced to challenge themselves to do the uncomfortable. It's been extremely draining, and while it may be improving, it's still a battlefield. You are all my heroes. I've grown immensely and put so much into perspective from this experience. So she's very thankful, and really, if you can hear that the compassion and the thanks for the teamwork to get everyone through it. This is the last note, a handwritten note. It says, Dear Regina, this is addressed to a nurse. Dear Regina, my name is Gina, and you were a nurse for my mother, Valerie, who was in ICU. You did an audio FaceTime for me and my mom when she was on a ventilator. And at the end, you said, Gina, I'm giving your mom a hug for you.
Thank
You went above and beyond. I'm sorry, I choke up when I read these. You went above and beyond. I will never forget how caring you were and how you acted as temporary family for my mom. She lost her battle to COVID-19 on April 11th, but you helped her fight and you cared so much. Thank you forever. So there are so many other heartfelt stories from mother, baby, in the emergency department, but time doesn't allow me to read them all. I'm amazed at the outpouring of immense kindness from the community, from the police and firefighters who are heroes in and of themselves. Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, we had the U.S. Navy Blue Angels and the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds fly overhead, local businesses that joined together in a GoFundMe to provide food to NYU Winthrop, food and letters from former employees, family members, notes, painted signs and well wishes, and thanks from children of all ages and states, and from within our own organizational walls, and appreciation of each other, and the contributions and camaraderie shown in a true caring family. So bottom line, you're on the front lines in this pandemic. You selflessly care and care for others, putting their needs ahead of your own. This was certainly not a battle you signed up for, but for one that you are taking up arms and fighting regardless. Thank you for being heroes that so many look up to and depend on. It's not been easy work, yet we charge on, ready to fight another day. In times like these, your strength and resiliency is an inspiration to so many. Thank you for your dedication and your service. Each and every one of you amaze me with your compassion, courage, commitment, and resiliency. We will continue to get through this together. You are awesome, and together we are NYU Winthrop Hospital strong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Val, for the wisdom. We'd like to call upon now Senator Anna Chaplain to join us now with her tribute. Please welcome the Senator.
Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, Rabbi Perl, for including me in this event. I'm honored to be among some of the wonderful speakers. I know that we would all rather be together going to NYU Winthrop in person and thanking our wonderful heroes. But I think we find blessing that in the fact that we still can come together in this manner so that we can honor and celebrate all our heroic nurses, doctors, nurse practitioners, frontline healthcare heroes working at NYU Winthrop Hospital, all the staff, all the administrators. This crisis that we find ourselves in together has put all of us in a very extraordinary trauma. With all of us dealing with this situation and emotions that we've never experienced before. Yet, in the face of blind fear and unprecedented risk and uncertainty, we have seen the true heroes among us rise to the occasion. Perhaps in normal times, some people might have taken their heroism for granted, but today when our doctors, our nurses, our frontline healthcare givers put on their PPE at the beginning of their shift, they have no idea what the kind of danger they're walking into every day to help our communities get through this. They get up every morning, they show up, they do their jobs and keep our communities safe, and they keep our communities moving forward. And they do all of this while managing the same stress that we are all experiencing right now. To all of the heroic frontline healthcare heroes, our wonderful doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, staff members, administrators in NYU Winthrop Hospital, who serve our community each and every day, no matter what, I want to say thank you for your service. Not only for today, not only for this week, not only during this crisis, but always. But you have shown yourself through this pandemic situation. You've cared for our loved ones when we couldn't care for them ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am in awe of your courage, your strength, and your bravery. And you have the unending appreciation and admiration of myself, every New Yorker, and every American. God bless you. God bless state of New York. And God bless this wonderful country we all call home, the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Senator, for your beautiful words and tribute. We'd like to go back to the hospital. Vice President of Quality, Monica Santoro. Monica, are you there, Monica? Unmute yourself, Monica.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you. Hi, welcome.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Rabbi Perl and the Spiritual Care Department for inviting me to speak. I'm obviously humbled by the extraordinary response of the entire hospital staff and echo the sentiments that were shared by the other speakers. So what struck me, and this is really woven as a theme through everyone's remarks today, in getting through this unprecedented crisis was really how well all the staff adapted and how they continue to adapt to meet ever-changing. And when I say ever-changing, the only thing that was consistent in this crisis was change of our patients and their families. The staff really did not skip a beat when they were confronted with critically ill patients from a virus that we knew little about, with continuous changes in policies and recommended practices, and as has been mentioned, in caring for patients in a variety of locations as we rapidly increased our capacity to meet the needs of our patients and the community. As previously mentioned, the staff was thrust into new situations which were unfamiliar, but they did what they needed to be done through teamwork and mutual respect, dedication, and a truly unselfish regard for others. You know, it's remarkable as leaders, as we rounded through the units, this, not only the adaptability, but the genuine concern about patients with a continued focus on the patient and on getting done what needed to get done. The staff really remained steadfast in their commitment to provide high quality, safe, patient-centered care. Val mentioned the labor pool, really remarkable. People went into completely new situations, working with completely new colleagues, new processes, and just readily adapted and did what they needed to do and did it really well, working alongside new colleagues, learning new skills. So I said I was going to comment on resilience, and the definition of resilience is really the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or to adjust and recover from change. And resilience in action is having the capacity to do a quick study, to develop swift trust, to engage in just-time learning, to imagine in detail what the next steps need to be, and to call upon and combine bits and pieces of our relevant past experiences. So I want to thank the entire workforce for adjusting to the enormous changes that were required to adapt to meet the evolving healthcare needs of our patients during this crisis. Thanking you for all that you do, remaining committed during this challenging time, for supporting each other. As Al mentioned, it was really palpable, the support of your colleagues and each other in providing high quality, compassionate care to our patients. I also want to thank Dr. Greco and all of my colleagues on the leadership team for responding and planning with a calm, methodical approach to get through this crisis. And as we embrace what has been described as our new normal, I'm confident that as a learning organization, we'll continue to adapt and excel at our mission. So thank you again. Thank you all. Thank you, Team Winthrop.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. I would like to call upon Rabbi Jay Rosenbaum, followed by Mindy Perlmutter. And I also believe that our Congresswoman Kathleen Rice is going to be joining us momentarily as well. Let's first welcome Rabbi Jay Rosenbaum, spiritual leader at Temple Israel of Lawrence. And we have the distinction of being on the same district attorney's faith council. Welcome, Rabbi Rosenbaum.
Thank you, Rabbi Perl. Truly, you are one of my heroes. Definition of a hero takes many turns and twists. One simple one is, it is an individual who rushes in where others are rushing out. But I believe hero is not a sufficient title. It's a beginning. In Judaism, one of God's names is healer of the sick. And you are truly God's partners, healing the sick, participating in the race for life to keep down the casualties of this war, which has claimed so many. You have holiness within you. You are souls that transcend definition, but are tied to the Almighty itself. May God bless you. We can't thank you adequately enough. We are here for you to do all that we can. And Rabbi Perl, being a chaplain there on the front lines, you too have put yourself at risk to bring life to others. God bless you. God bless us all. Have a good, safe, and healthy Shabbos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. I appreciate your beautiful words. Let's now go to the Executive Director of the JCRC in Long Island. That's the Jewish Community Relations Council, Long Island, to Mindy Perlmutter. And we too are on the DA's Faith Council. Please welcome Mindy Perlmutter.
Thank you, Rabbi Perl. And thank you all for being here and for inviting me to be a part of this. I really just want to echo what everyone has been saying so far, so eloquently and so beautifully. When I was growing up, I used to watch, and many of you might have as well, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And Fred Rogers' mother used to tell Fred Rogers, and he quotes, that when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. Thank you all to all of you. You are all the helpers. You are what, when I watch the news, when I listen to things and it gets so scary, I think of everybody who's out there, who's working so hard to help their fellow citizens. And it's beautiful. And that's what gives me hope. That's what gives me the reason that I want to be here today to say thank you to all of you. It was said before, the word superheroes. Yeah, no question. Everybody who has been working within the Winthrop system, who's been helping within the Winthrop system, I thank you so greatly. I thank you so from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the Jewish Community Relations Council, truly a toda rabah. I thank you very, very much. And God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mindy. And let's now go to our U.S. Congresswoman representing the 4th District. Let's welcome the Honorable Kathleen Rice. Kathleen. Oh,
Rabbi
wow.
Perl, it's so good to see you. Can everyone hear me, I hope?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Rabbi Perl, thank you so much. First of all, it's so wonderful to see your face and everyone else. Thank you so much for getting us all together this afternoon. I'm so glad that you invited me and included me today, because I just want to add my voice to the chorus of voices that we've heard from today to say thank you to all of you, the entire NYU Winthrop community, for working to keep us safe. I'm so proud. I mean, literally, I can't tell you how many times I have been the beneficiary, and people in my family have been the beneficiary of the wonderful health care that all of you give there day in and day out. And that is never been more evident than now during this crisis. The dedication, the selflessness, the courage, leaving your families, having to be separated from your families because of the care that you are given to those who are fighting this virus, is the most selfless act that you can do. Every day you are, even though our churches and our synagogues are closed, every day you bring God into your hospital and into your patients' lives, and you give them hope. You take such good care of them. And I just, I have members of my family in the healthcare profession, and I have to tell you, I've never been more proud to say that. And I think you're going to see a lot of people using you all as role models and following you into nursing, medicine, therapists, any kind of, frontline healthcare worker, because of the role models you have been to all of us out there. So I just want to thank you so much. I am heading down to Washington next week to hopefully get more done so that we can get hospitals like NYU Winthrop the help that you need, the support that you need to carry us through fighting this virus. So again, Rabbi Perl, thank you so much for including me in this, and thank you all so much for everything that you have done for our community and beyond.
Thank you so much. Wishing you continued success there in Washington and representing us so well. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I just want to do a quick shout out to Jenna, Lisa, Sarah, and Sheila out of the Patient Relations Department I work so closely with, to Jean Zabrowski, Director of Volunteer Services and the Sabbath House Coordinator, and to Rhonda at the Office of Al Glover. Let's now turn our attention now, understand this entire program today is in conjunction with the Spiritual Care Department, directed by Reverend Karen Jones. And I've been working with them, and I've been part of the hospital for more than 3 decades. It's a great honor and humbled by the permission I have to be the resident rabbi of this great hospital. So I'd like to call upon Chaplain Jay Daniels to speak to us. He is now part of the Spiritual Care Department of the hospital to talk to us a little about gratitude for resilience. Let's welcome Chaplain Daniels.
Let me take a moment to thank you, the able leadership of NYU Winthrop, and also the opportunity to share on behalf of Spiritual Care Department here at NYU Winthrop. COVID-19 changed everything what we thought normal. And also COVID-19 has broken down every wall ever built by anyone. This disease does not know the color. It does not see culture, does not understand the boundaries built by countries. Even as we speak on behalf of spiritual care, it has not even seen the religion of the people. Let me take a moment to share one other story which involved both our department and at the same time our frontline staff here at NYU Winthrop. This happened in the middle of the high holidays for both the Jewish community and also the Christian community. After a long and difficult day, I was getting ready to go to my home to have my rest. Suddenly the phone rang. On the other side, I had a young man who is identified himself as a Jewish person whose father was actively dying here at NYU Winthrop. And being this as the high holidays and also late on that day, the son wanted his father, who was actively dying, to know that he or the family loves him, and also asking for the forgiveness if they have committed anything wrong to the patient or their father. At the same time, want to give him the permission to die. And I personally went to the floor on that day, stood outside the doors of his father's room and prayed that prayer on behalf of his family, and the regular Jewish prayer, which would be prayed at the time of someone's death. And the son was on the speakerphone to say to his father that it is okay to die and ask for the forgiveness, and at the same time, to say thank you for everything. And when he finished his conversations with his father, he asked me, he said, okay, if I would say thank you to the staff who was caring for his father. I said, why don't you talk to the staff? Because they were next to me. I gave them the phone, and they have actually started talking. And I could see tears running through the nurse's eyes, and also everyone who was there when the son was thanking for the care of his father. He could not be physically here, but over the phone. See, when I look at you today, all of our staff here, that especially the doctors, medical staff, doctors and nurses, and also non-medical staff, I have high appreciation for all of you. When I immigrated to the United States, I saw something awesome happening in this country, which I never saw on the other side of the world, that firefighters, police, and the medicals will be running into a burning building, a building which was collapsing, to rescue people. When COVID-19 happening, even at this moment, I see a medical community that when everybody else wanted to run away from this place, that they run into, even risking their own life. So I want to thank all of you for your hard work and your commitment, even at this moment, risking your own life and with all your fears. So thank you for all of you. And also maybe take a moment to thank all the community leaders that include our political and religious leaders, that include our in-house Rabbi Perl. We can't do this work without having a support from our community. Even at this time when our volunteers are not able to come into our facility, you guys do an excellent job reaching out to us and providing care, through other means in providing care for all of us. So we thank you for all what you do. A special shout out, I hear you, Rabbi. A special shout out to NYU Winthrop chaplains who were also on the front line of services here at NYU Winthrop. We want to thank God for Marianne. We also want to thank God for Reverend Karen Jones. Few of our own staff were affected by the disease, and we thank God for the safety and the well-being of our own team here. So, I'm grateful, for the speed of communication in this era, that we were able to connect with members of the family and at the same time with the patient and our staff here, even though the families could not be here. We thank God for the medical technologies we have. At the same time, the courageous and generous people like you. You know, our director was saying this yesterday to us, that, you know, resilience is bouncing back when you've been kicked down, you know, coming back again. So thank you for that thought. And also, in conclusion, I just want you to know that just like our seasons changes, this too will pass.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you for your time.
Beautiful words. We have one more speaker. I'm looking at the time, which is amazing. We'd like first to say shout out to Gabe Marc from the Portuguese community. Just sent us a beautiful note thanking everybody at the hospital. Thank you, Gabe. Just to conclude.
Rabbi, I think you're muted.
Who is muted? Who's muted? Am I muted? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. Great, great. Thank you. Let's just, Vice President of the Mineola Chamber of Commerce for a few words. He's the musical director of the Nassau Pops. Louis, I hope I'm going to say it right. Louis
Panachuli.
Panachuli. Thank you. I got my lesson today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi, and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Rabbi Perl, for the invitation to speak today. I'll make my comments very brief. As you said, my name is Louis Panachuli, and I serve as Vice President of the Mineola Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the conductor and music director of the Nassau Pop Symphony Orchestra. For the last 35 years, we've been performing in the village, entertaining residents with concerts in Memorial Park and at Chaminade High School. I'm just so proud of the extraordinary employees and medical staff at NYU Winthrop Hospital who unwaveringly and bravely attend to the patients afflicted with COVID-19. I'm especially proud of my daughter, Lauren Watt, who is a nurse in NYU Winthrop's Labor and Delivery Department and helps keep expectant mothers and infants safe during this pandemic. My heartfelt thanks to you all. And thank you again, Rabbi Perl, for the opportunity to speak to everyone.
Thank you so much. I'd like to conclude, first of all, thank all the speakers, both from the great hospital as well as from the community. And if anybody was left out, as usual, I'll send my apologies, but we tried our best to include everybody as possible. Just like to conclude with these words. We all, from the community at large, thanks the incredible NYU Winthrop Hospital employees. Your limitless dedication, commitment to all of our well-being is unbelievable. We all know it's not over. We have ways to go, but now we must say thank you. Thank you. Not for one day, no, for 1 minute do we take you for granted. All the incredible hospital employees, we'll always forget you're part of history, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. Anybody, anybody would like to say one concluding word or from anybody? Otherwise, we're going to say hello to Sai Seidel. Thank you so much for joining us. And did you want to say something, Sai? But okay. So again,
thank you for everything that you've done. You, Rabbi Perl, for the hospital, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I want to wish everybody an incredible Memorial Day weekend. We'll remember all those who've passed, all those in the armed forces. Again, to the great hospital, thank you, all the administrators and everybody who helped make this happen today. Thank you for allowing me to be the MC and the opportunity to be part of this great hospital. Wishing everybody a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, everybody, and God bless everybody, and God bless America. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi Perl.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good evening, have a good day. All the best.